and blood.
Hello, this is Mesh from Downtime Distractions with a first look review of, as you just heard, of Carrots and Blood. So with our first look reviews, we define them differently than a full review by a couple of caveats. I'll just quickly go over these. Gameplay time I've put into it is under 8 hours. Game has not been completed or finished, and there's room to gain more skills or knowledge across single or multiple facets of the title. So we still can give you a good idea if this title is worth picking up and express our opinions on it. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in and see what this game is all about. Okay, so as you can see, Of Carrots and Blood is a twin-stick survival arena, and it's delivered to us in an old-school arcade retro pixel art design. So it's brought to us by developer and publisher called Trite Games. These guys were kind enough to give me a key for a review, so thanks for that. This title's coming out on the 26th of March. The price I'm not sure of, but I checked on a website which it's been released on for a while called itch.io. I'll link to that below, and the price on there is $7.99 US. So one would assume that it would be similar if not the same on Steam, but obviously that's something for you to check yourself. So it has a few noteworthy game modes. So it has a single player survival mode, which for me is really the core to the game. It has a couple of two-player co-ops as well. So you have the survival and two-player, and you have a minefield two-player and an abyss two-player. And you also have a PvP with up to 4 players. So that's to the death fighting each other. It also says, and I've seen the option there, to play it online. But you need to provide a bit of detail. So someone's going to have to host a game, and then you have to punch in some details to join it. So you need to communicate with your friends on that to be able to do that. Okay, so with all that said, let's jump in and I'll show you how the game responds and how the UI works, and show you around a bit of the menu system. And here we go, in game. So as you can see, you are a cutesy little rabbit trying to defend your carrot. So these guys coming from the outskirts are the mutants, which have, I believe they escaped from a lab. So you need to fend them off, stop them actually damaging your carrot. Now, the carrot actually has a health amount. So top left hand corner you can see 100%, so that's your carrot's health. And you can actually damage that as well. So as you can see here, I just dropped it down to 86%. So that's something to note ongoing, because it is often that you need to shoot through the carrot to get something. So it is a common thing. Like there, it's just like, well, how much do you want to damage the carrot to keep him alive? You know. Top right you have your score. So the 41 is how many mutants I've killed, and that's my score as well. So you got that online leaderboard, which you can check that out and check everyone else's score. You also have below that the currency of the game, which is currency in brains, of course. So you get those by killing these guys. There's a couple other ways you can increase it by using certain items, but I'll get into that more in a minute. So bottom left, you can also see I have my avatar, and there's a flashing bar. Now that relates to another item I picked up. So I can release that by pressing Y, and the carrot does that, fires off some rounds. So that's an item I've actually purchased with that in-game currency. And also you can see I'm getting random items drop around the place. So that's, I guess, the main feature, the main mechanic to the game, is that these items drop around. You can use them, and they do different things. So this one here, it's really good. It's a magnet, keeps the carrots close to you, and they just spin around. They're really powerful. Oh look, some new glasses. I can pick those up. There was a different mutant type there, so you got to get him from the side or the back. So I guess the gameplay itself is fun, and there's there's a lot of enjoyment in it too. Enjoyment for me is really trying to get a good score and finding the new weapons to unlock. There is about 3 or 4 different mutants I've seen. I don't think there's any major bosses you come across, but I might be wrong on that, as my actual scores have always been under the 400 mark, so possibly the guys that get massive scores unlock other creatures. But there's definitely variety in the things you're picking up, the power-ups. I mean, stuff like that, they put the bombs on them and take everyone out, stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. These skulls here actually add to your score, so a bit of extra score is always good. My carrot's just about to die, so there you go. I lost him and he died. Okay, so this is the level select screen, I'll call it. So you can go back to the main menu here. This is the high scores up here. There's some weird stuff down here. I'm not sure what this all entails, but there's like a secret in that cave, and you got a boat out there. Not sure what that's all about. So this is the main level that I just did there, the single player last stand. You have the co-op last stand here as well. This is a 4-player all on all, so that would be quite interesting. Some more co-op stuff down here, so the Abyss and Minefields. So they're only 2-player. And if we go this way, this is, I guess, where the replayability will come from for a lot of people. So we have a vinyl store, so you can pick up different tracks as you go along. You can also purchase them with in-game currency. And so that's really, I think it's really good to change up the music in the actual game, the actual level itself, because it can get quite monotonous at times, especially if that's the only level you're dealing with, right? Here we have achievements, I guess trophies, and here we have a shop, which is interesting. So the in-game currency can buy stuff in here. The top ones here are primarily for your character, so you can purchase things like Ring of Loot, which increases the loot drops. You can get a second chance, and these items down here are also power-ups, so additional power-ups you can purchase to drop in the game. So some tracks down here as well, and every now and again you get the odd ability for your carrot. That one I showed you, which was Sneeze Powder. So that's where I got it from, in here. So, you know, a lot of variety is going to come from this shop here, so that's good to know. And the last one here is a lab. So with the in-game currency, and also every now and again you'll pick up DNA, so you take the DNA and the currency in here, and you can get new skins for your characters. So yeah, I'm not sure what this graveyard is either. If you find out what the secret is about down there with the ship and this graveyard, put some comments below and let me know. So with that out of the way, I just want to jump into some overall review of the gameplay, graphics and audio. So just before we get started on graphics and audio and gameplay, I just wanted to talk about one thing I've noted, and also I've seen other people in the forums mention it as well. If you've got multiple screens, this game has no option to choose another screen, so it defaults to a particular one, and I hope it's the right one for you. Because the way you get around that is you press Alt-Enter to, I guess, change the screen to less of a, so it's not maximized. Then you move it to where you want to, then you can maximize it there. But it never sits right after that point, and it kind of glitches a bit as well. In the end, it worked right for me, but you can't change it to Windows mode. It's full screen or nothing. So that'll be good to see the developers maybe add some more features with that, because it's something very common. People have multiple screens, so it does get annoying. Okay, so let's move on to graphics. First off, graphics. So graphically, as you can see, it's a really old school retro pixel style. And it definitely has a charm to it. But with that kind of retro style, you've put boundaries around yourself to not put an amazing looking game together. But for me, I like the style. I think it looks good. I think the animations are good and the characters look cool as well. But as I say, it is what it is. It's a retro pixel art style. Some people don't like it, some people do. I can take it or leave it. So audio. Audio's pretty good. The sound of all the assets are nice, and the tracks as well, they're all pretty good. I really like having the ability to change as well. That's missing from some other smaller games of the same style. It just gets very repetitive. If you're doing the same looking level with very similar mechanics with the same track going over and over again, it can get a bit annoying. So to have that ability to, is almost like a jukebox, to mix stuff up is always appreciated. Now let's move on to gameplay. Okay, so the core to any game is of course the gameplay. So with this one, I was pretty happy with how it all went. The single player mode there, the kind of last stand that you saw, is good. There's a lot of replayability with that because of the leaderboard and the power-ups that you get, and that currency which enables you to get more power-ups, get special abilities, purchase vinyl to change the tracks, and also purchase different skins. So it's well done, it's well delivered, that part, and I did enjoy it. I want to compare this title to a title I reviewed a couple months back, which was Bit Blaster XL. So very similar gameplay mechanics. Difference is that was in space. This one is obviously rabbits and carrots and murdering mutants and whatnot. But it's in essence it's the same. You got the kind of the power-ups and trying to survive and the currency. The difference is that Bit Blaster XL was under $1, and this, if my assumption is right, is going to be about $8. Admittedly, this title has the co-op and the multiplayer modes, but for me, I think my assumption will be the majority of the audience won't be using those features. The majority will just be playing single player. Of course, a lot of people will play co-op and multiplayer, but for the most part, people generally game by themselves. How often are people going to be in your house wanting to play this game with you? If you got siblings or flatmates, sure, it's going to happen. But for the most part, I think it's probably, I would rather see them put more time into the single player than going down the other route. But that's my opinion. And that's something you need to be aware of as well. If you're going to pick this up and you're not going to have people to play it with, or you do and they're remote, they're going to have to purchase it as well, and obviously you're going to have to organise a time and whatnot, so you can't just join a random match, you have to join a specific match. It's just something to be aware of. If you're really into that co-op and you have people you can play with, sweet, that's awesome. But if you're not, buyer beware. The amount of gameplay you're going to get out of this for the price in single play mode is not going to be a lot. But in saying that, I'm not taking anything away from it, because that single player mode is fun, and as I said, I enjoyed it, and there's replayability in it. I just wish they put more into that one in itself. So I'll leave this video here. I hope this has given you a good idea whether to purchase this or not. So please leave me some comments below. Like if you like it, thumb down if you didn't like it. Subscribe would really help us out. Share it on Facebook. Share it to your friends as well. As I said, you might want to try and encourage some friends to purchase it so you can do that co-op stuff. So share the video around. Even check us out on Facebook as well. We've just got that online. So that'll be good. And I'll see you next time.